I'm a survival expert. I've provided official training to the United States Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force, Department of Defense, LAPD, CA Dept of Justice and more. As a civilian, I'm a former fire/rescue helicopter crew member in SoCal. People travel across the globe to train with me. At all. Hi everyone. I'm a professional survival instructor and former fire/rescue helicopter crew member. My services have been sought by some of the most elite military teams in the world. I have consulted for TV and film, and my courses range from Alaska field training, to desert survival near Mexico, to urban disaster readiness in Orange County, California. Ask me anything you want about wilderness survival, what gear is best, how to splint a leg, unorthodox resource procurement in urban areas, all that. I'm up for anything. Edit. We have a Patreon with training videos for those asking about courses. What advice would you give someone considering a first responder type of job as a career? Train hard. People's lives depend on you showing up as the best version of you. High and fucking tight. Take all the advice on growing and becoming better, and explore mental/emotional coping mechanisms right away. You're going to see some shit. Be sure you have ways to deal with it effectively. What's the biggest piece of survival misinformation you'd like to set the record straight on? Fire steels suck ass. Always carry storm matches and an accelerant. Don't use fire steels for emergency situations. I have these cold steel survival knives with the flint and steel that my cousin gave me back in high school. My friends and I tried to start so many fires with them, and we never could, even when using liquid fire starter. Made me chuckle seeing this, and remember our futile attempts. What is the most obscure/craziest experience you had, or trained people for? R15 orientation in extreme cold weather with snowshoe and Arctic shelter training. What is a common seen on TV survival tip, i.e. skin a bear and sleep in it to avoid the cold, that is not accurate? Or, what is something that people often assume about survival in extreme conditions that is incorrect? You can't just tough it out. In extreme conditions you need some type of gear and training. You can't expect to build a snow cave by clawing with ungloved hands, etc. People play the what I would do in a zombie apocalypse game all the time, but it sounds like you're the expert. What would you do, assuming you're starting in a mid-level urban one-bedroom apartment, when things go south? Store some water, cheap power banks for your phone, a Walmart super cold rated sleeping bag if heat is off, small USB powered fan for heat, medkit, canned food from the dollar store, something for home defense. Okay start I'd say. Edit. This is a brief example of a very inexpensive setup to get you stare and keep you alive in the short term. Would you do naked and afraid? No, but I've trained some contestants. Have you ever actually been lost somewhere and used your skills? At 15 I had SAR dispatched on me in the mountains after becoming lost. I used an escape azimuth natural route finding to hike into town over 6 hours and drank from springs as I knew protozoa infections, the most common in the outdoors, take days to kick in, but the heat would kill me quickly. I was the typical day hiker with no mountain experience with nothing. I began to hitchhike when I hit the first major road, got home, and called search and rescue, and told them I was okay. What is the most common mistake made by someone lost in the wilderness? Not carrying any type of kit at all, even a pocket kit. The most common victim of an outdoor survival situations are day hikers. They carry nothing, and have nothing, if anything goes wrong. This is why the #1 killer is exposure. Edit. Also, nobody ever forms a signal. Helicopters flying overlooking, ground teams, all that, and people hope rescuers trip over them. Always form/initiate a rescue signal as soon as possible. To expand on this, what would you keep in a pocket kit for a day hiker? 2 fire cubes, S-bit, wet fire, fast fire, etc. UCO storm matches, aqua tabs, chlorine tabs, strip of bright ribbon and pocket signal mirror, stream light clip on or weather light, BZK wipes, gauze roll, heat sheet. Any particular multi-tool you would recommend? I only go the Victorinox Swiss tool and Leatherman models. In my teaching and training experience they hold up the best. Leatherman has a wide price range. The Swiss tools my favorite are $100 plus and worth every penny. you can hand them down to your children. Thank you for doing an AMA. How can I tell the difference between a sprain and a fracture, and how should I take care of both? Also, what are some of the things you believe everyone should have with them pretty much at all times? Generally the amount of pain, if it is weight bearing, if there is tenting or deformation, range of motion, things like that. Here is the thing however, when it doubts splint the area, it won't hurt, and will protect either injury, and stop using it ASAP. Is Bear Grylls actually any good as a resource for survival info? Who knows, TV is TV and hosts say who the TV guys want. But he is a legit stud. Former SAS, summited Everest, does intense expeditions, rock climbs well, successful as shit, seems like a good dude. Also his school hired me once, so I like him lol. What are the most important items a family with small children should have on hand for emergencies/natural disasters? A way to purify urban water, high chemical and virus removal capability, a specialized medkit for long-term care, medical honey dressing, or other calcium alginate for long-term non-stick application, benzoclonium chloride, ACE bandages, and extra medication that is taken daily, etc. A way to form a microclimate if the grid is down, catalytic room heater, fans, etc. Communications capability. Shortwave is best because it works over the horizon, but most of all a good plan and training. You don't want to form an emergency plan on the fly, there's enough hard decisions to make in any disaster already, and you don't want your first time using your gear to be in an emergency. Train with your gear. Hygiene kits are also essential, germs are everywhere. Also grub is good lol. What are easy mistakes to make that threaten one's survival? I'm sure it depends by situation, but are there general things you see people do that could be surprisingly dangerous? I've seen so many people on trails with no gear whatsoever and dressed poorly. Lobsters hiking by in flip-flops, and no shirts on desert trails, that kind of thing. Exposure is the #1 killer in outdoor emergencies, at least dress for the outdoors. Have you ever been in a situation you were 100% confident wasn't going to end in your survival? How did you survive? I've been close enough a few times. I was doing a little bouldering in the Sierras and climbed onto a tabletop rock that met a trail. As I stepped over a 8-inch crack, I began to hear a lot of rattlesnakes begin to buzz. I began to scan the rock and saw a lot of fishes. Every one I stepped over began to buzz. I was in a nest. I slowed everything down. I knew if I began to run or step blindly I could be bitten, but I felt like there was no way I wouldn't be bitten anyway. I was ready to dodge. I kind of ninja walked to the boulder. Luckily none struck at me. My adrenaline was so high however, that as soon as I hit the trail and was safe, I just had to sprint for a 100 meters or so to let the adrenaline out. I knew I was safe, but it was so damn hard not to freak out. Now that it was safe I had to freak out and sprint lol. I know there's a lot of interest in terms of outdoor/wilderness survival, but I'm curious what your thoughts are on surviving urban situations such as an earthquake, a fire, or even as a hostage, or during a terrorist incident, shooting, bomb, etc. Is it better to stay put, or to make a run for it, etc.? In a dense population center standard evacuation may be impossible. I teach people to identify waterways and aqueducts which often have frontage areas as options. Also, you are trying to place the grid on a small scale for a short period of time. It's gear intensive, so be ready. Have water, medical gear, hygiene needs, self-defense, comms, your ID documents, tools, etc. ready to go. In my urban disaster course we teach assembly of portable solar generators for cheap as well. Shelter in place vs evacuated is highly dependent on location and event. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe so I can make more videos.